The first week we spent in the safe zone felt almost like a dream, a stark contrast to the constant fear and worry we endured to survive. However, this new order didn't erase the shadows of the past entirely. The pain of our losses and the trauma of what we'd experienced had left deep scars in each of our hearts. I was no different. There was a hollow feeling inside me whenever I thought of my family, friends, and my old life. However, deciding to join the antidote mission under the leadership of Dr. Ilara filled that void with a sense of purpose. Perhaps this would give meaning to what we've been through and serve as a tribute to the memory of our losses. The training process was arduous. We needed not only physical endurance but also the mental preparedness for this mission. The instructors of the Salvation Union educated us not only in combat techniques but also in survival skills under challenging circumstances. Each lesson instilled in us the determination and courage necessary to survive. With time, we developed a strong bond with the other members of the mission team. Each of us had a different story, but we shared a common purpose: to save humanity. Mia in our team was once a biochemistry student, now believing it was time to use her knowledge for the good of mankind. Lucas, a former firefighter, had always been the one to rush into danger first, and was now ready to show the same courage. As we set out towards the laboratory where the antidote was hidden, each of us had to confront our inner battles. The scenes we encountered along the way depicted the fragility of humanity and the deep wounds this disaster had inflicted. Upon reaching the laboratory, we had anticipated the challenges awaiting us, but the reality was far grimmer than we had imagined. The zombies had turned the laboratory into a fortress. Passing through them to get the antidote was equivalent to a suicide mission. Yet, we didn't lose hope. We waited for the cover of night and began to move as stealthily as possible. Each step endangered not just our lives, but also the future of humanity. Inside the laboratory, as we searched for the antidote, we also prayed not to encounter any zombies. Finally, we reached the highly secured room described by Dr. Ilara. The antidote had to be there. When we entered the room, a small vial stood before us, almost like the fruit of all our efforts and sacrifices. We had to grab it and swiftly make our way back. But the surprises awaiting us on the return journey indicated that our mission was far from over. The cold, sterile corridors of the laboratory echoed with the wild screams of the zombies. With the bag safely securing the antidote, Mia, Lucas, and I attempted to find a way through the darkness. Each corner could bring us face to face with death, and each door could harbor a new nightmare. Lucas took the lead, holding the flashlight with a determined yet shaky hand, illuminating our path. Mia strained her eyes, trying to read each label in the hope of finding a glimmer of hope in the darkness. I watched their backs, remaining vigilant against any potential attack. Suddenly, a shadow swiftly moved from one wall to another. We held our breath. Lucas put a finger to his lips, signaling the need for absolute silence. Among the shadows, the faces of the zombies, with eyes gleaming in the darkness, were watching us. Turning to us, Lucas whispered, "I'll count to 3. Start running and don't stop. I'll cover from behind." Despite the fear in our eyes, we had no choice but to trust him. 1, 2, 3. The sound of our steps echoed through the corridors, and the zombies sprang into action. We ran, running for our lives. Mia in front, me behind her, and Lucas like a guardian protecting us, running at the rear. As we reached the exit of the laboratory, the first rays of the sun were starting to appear on the horizon, but we hadn't reached safety. Outside, the other members of the Salvation Union were engaged in a battle with the zombies. We joined the fight. Protecting the antidote was more crucial than anything else. The battle was brutal and chaotic. Each bullet, each scream, reminded us of the bitter truths of this new world. But together, we fought for humanity's last stronghold. Finally, the onslaught of the zombies ceased. Exhausted and weary, we had managed to bring the antidote to the safe zone. When Dr. Elara saw us, I could see the relief and the glimmer of hope in her eyes. She took the antidote and immediately began her work. Days passed and the effects of the antidote started to be observed. The first treated individuals began to recover from the effects of the illness. It was a victory for us, but the war was not yet over. The Salvation Union began planning to distribute the antidote worldwide. This new mission might be even more challenging than the previous one, but now we had hope, a beacon guiding us through the darkness. Mia, Lucas, and I were preparing for a new mission. This time we would carry the antidote to all corners of the world and witness the rebirth of humanity. This journey might separate us from our families and loved ones, but it was a sacrifice we willingly accepted. In the shadow of the apocalypse, our journey of hope continued.